a Boeing 747 with 524 people on board. Cruising at 24,000 feet, suddenly, the unthinkable happens. The tail section of the aircraft tears off midair. No controls, no direction, no cabin pressure, no oxygen, and yet, the pilots keep the plane airborne for 45 minutes. This is a story of human resilience, engineering failure, and a flight that lost all means of control. This is the tragic tale of Japan Airlines Flight 123. Welcome back to channel. It's August 12, 1985. At Tokyo's Haneda Airport, a Japan Airlines Boeing 747 is preparing to board passengers for a routine one-hour flight to Osaka. It's the open holiday season in Japan. Millions are traveling home. After a brief cleanup, the aircraft boards 509 passengers and 15 crew members. For the crew, this is a standard flight, but what they, and the passengers, don't know is that this aircraft is hiding a deadly flaw, a flaw buried deep within its structure for years. Neither the pilots nor the flight engineer had any idea. This was the sixth flight of the day for this same aircraft. A busy schedule for a tired plane. The cockpit crew, Captain Masami Takahama, 49, with over 12,000 flight hours. First Officer Yutaka Sasaki, 39, with 3,900 hours, on track for captain promotion. Flight engineer Hiroshi Fukuda, 46, tasked with monitoring technical systems from behind the pilots. With such experienced hands, the passengers' safety seemed assured. But was the aircraft equally reliable? That question would soon be answered. At 6:04 p.m., the doors are sealed. At 6:12 p.m., Flight 123 takes off from runway 15L. A short 1-hour 12-minute flight, but they're instructed to fly over the ocean due to thunderstorms inland. The takeoff is smooth, but just 12 minutes into the flight, over Sagami Bay, disaster strikes. A loud, mysterious bang erupts. The tail section rips apart. A gaping hole opens in the rear of the fuselage. Cabin pressure vanishes. Loose items are sucked toward the hole. Panic spreads in seconds. Excitement turns into terror. Even in the cockpit, the explosion is heard. At 24,000 feet, the outside air is thin, oxygen is low. The cabin is kept pressurized to mimic sea level conditions. If that seal breaks, pressure plummets. Passengers become disoriented, even unconscious. That's exactly what happens, but the pilots still don't know the tail has blown off. They discuss possibilities. Was it a gear door? An engine failure? In reality, the rear pressure bulkhead had failed, taking the tail with it, including the rudder, critical for directional control. The rudder controls the yaw, turning the aircraft left or right. Without it, the plane can't steer properly or align for landing. The autopilot fails to correct the swaying. The aircraft begins to roll left and right uncontrollably. A ground observer captures a photo. It shows the rudder is completely missing. The flight crew, realizing something is wrong, switches to emergency transponder code 7700. This alerts all nearby control towers of an emergency. The captain requests a return to Tokyo. Air traffic control approves a 90-degree right turn. But when the first officer attempts the turn, the plane banks far too sharply. More than 40 degrees, the captain yells, "Reduce the bank angle." But the aircraft doesn't respond. Then comes another blow. Hydraulic pressure is dropping fast. Soon, it's gone completely. Without hydraulics, all control surfaces are useless. Ailerons, elevators, flaps, everything now becomes dead weight. The aircraft is no longer flyable in the traditional sense. The cabin has depressurized, oxygen masks deploy, hydraulic systems are dead. Now, hypoxia sets in, a dangerous condition caused by lack of oxygen. Confusion, slow movements, poor decisions, even unconsciousness. The cabin crew urges passengers to use their masks. In the cockpit, panic grows. The pilots have one last tool, the engines. Captain Takahama uses engine thrust to control the aircraft's movement. To turn right, increase thrust on the left engines. To level out, adjust thrust precisely. Using just engine power, they begin stabilizing the roll. It's not perfect, but it works. Now the goal is simple. Get back to Tokyo, land the plane, but first, they must descend to increase cabin pressure. With the elevators useless, they try something else. Lower the landing gear, not hydraulically, but using gravity. Miraculously, it works. They descend to 13,500 feet, a small success. But the danger isn't over. Now they need to turn the aircraft toward Tokyo, still using only engine thrust. But the plane begins entering mountainous terrain. Low altitude, no controls, only engines. It's becoming an impossible task. At 6:48 p.m., the captain shouts, "Turn right." There's a mountain ahead, but the engines can't make such a precise turn. Warnings blare in the cockpit. The plane is now just 6,800 feet above the ground. 2 minutes later, silence. The last cockpit recordings capture impact sounds. Flight 123 crashes into a mountain. Of the 524 on board, only 4 survive. Seated in the left center section of the cabin, everyone else perishes. The investigation reveals a horrifying truth. 7 years earlier, the same aircraft's tail struck the runway during landing. It was repaired, but incorrectly. Technicians installed a key structural plate improperly. That flawed repair could only withstand 11,000 pressurization cycles. Flight 123 was on its 12,500th. To test the incident, 4 professional pilots were placed in simulators and given the exact same scenario. All of them crashed. None could keep the aircraft in the air as long as Flight 123's crew. And those simulator pilots, they knew what the problem was. They knew their lives weren't in danger. Given those facts, it's clear. The crew of Japan Airlines 123 did the impossible. For 45 minutes, they kept a doomed aircraft flying, fighting every second for the lives of their passengers. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and leave your thoughts below. See you in the next video.